Alright, time to delve into Pan's Temple.
The stench of the bog fades into memory, and a land of great beauty lies before him, a paradise where nature lives in harmony with all living creatures. Indeed, a refuge for those who
the
wish
morning
it.
star. I'm sorry,
He
the
is
cross
close
is
now,
extending.
close to the old gods and the old ways, long forgotten by men.
We have perfected the art of loading screens.
So, yeah, this game offers a concept that it's quite common in a couple of fiction media, but it's still pretty neat. The idea that a deity will lose actual power the more people, lose faith or forget about that specific deity. And so it's the case with the pagan gods now that everyone is mostly a Christian, especially in all of Europe. But even a pagan god like Pan can give a help to someone like Gabriel. The gimmick of this particular level is that there are no enemies. All you have to do is roam around searching for these particular runes in this amulet. There you go. Which will give you essentially a combination that you will have to input at the end. You don't need to find all of them. Potentially you can, even if you know already from a previous playthrough, you can just waltz it right through through the gate, because it's not like a variable thing. But it's something that you can potentially figure out even if you collect just like 3 or even 2 runes, because they're placed in a specific orders, and it's not like there are potential, bad combination. Anyway, next night, Glibs, it's up to you.
The ravaged corpses of my brothers lie scattered everywhere. I feel guilty looting the bodies of my comrades, but I must find more life gems or I am lost too. Forgive me, my brothers. I won't last long unless I increase my chances of survival, and the dead have no use for such things anymore. I know there's a life gem nearby. I can sense it. But I just need to rest for a moment. Feels so weak.
And you're dead. This is a hint that there is an actual hidden life gem somewhere, but you need to find it a bit, by straying a bit from the path. I will just get it off screen in between parts, which is a good point for me to talk about the one thing, the replayability value. You can replay all the levels, any levels at any given moment, in a higher difficulty if you want, and collecting all the trinkets that you missed, especially if you have different kind of abilities. Also, you can complete a specific challenge tied to it. Anyway, go ahead, Pedro. This one's next is for you.
Okay. Is this the one then?
Mm.
All right. My darling Martha, I tell that I'm not going to make it back. Look after yourself and our beloved daughter. God forgive me for failing in my task. Know that you will always be in my heart that one day. We will always be together again. Your loving husband, Victor.
Don't you mean Bruce?
Well,
okay, no. To be fair, Thomas, because Martha was Thomas's wife.
I can imagine another way that letter would go, though. You will always be in my heart, as this bloody arrow is right now.
Considering he doesn't even swear, is there any particular reason you asked me for this specific imitation?
No, it's not for this one, Pedro. It's for it's for something way later down the line.
Yeah.
You can for the time being you can do whatever you want. Don't worry, it's still accepted. Let me also mention this quickly while we're getting to the goal. There were 3 writers for this. Eddie Dayton, John Sloan, and Dave Cox. Out of these, only Dave Cox actually wrote for the sequel. It was only one writer at that point. John Sloan is the one that has a bit more, things under its belt, because it worked it was a part of additional crew for stuff like a Contra game and the original Metal Gear Solid on the PS1.
It very looks like the main character from Cameo.
A bit. The fairies in this game are just as you can imagine, pixies with cute appearance, barely any costume but are sensor thanks to beams of light, and insect wings.
How nice.
Oh wait,
Also,
Pedro, I guess you can say this is her cameo then.
Also, Dave Cox also got special thanks for being also additional crew in Metal Gear Solid 2. Gex 3 for some reason, Fear Effect 2, and the first Zone of the Enders.
What? He was a writer on Gex 3.
No, he's only thanks. I don't know what he did for that.
What exactly does special thanks mean? It's like, what is
It's
that?
probably something like, oh, maybe this guy gave us a bit of consultants, he offered drinks or stuff.
Special things can mean a million different things.
Like, to give you an idea, Dej, remember, Hunt Down the Freeman has special thanks to Hideo Kojima. Let that sink in.
Which game, sorry?
Hunt Down the Freeman.
Well,
What?
maybe they
That's
consulted
because
himself or something. I
no,
don't know.
people generally believe the game actually rips off a sequence from GS5, but that's a story for another time. Because now, thanks to meeting Pan, Gabriel will use this occasion to offer to the player a lot of exposition. You know, getting a bit more what exactly is going on.
It was not for the day of the living.
Oh, so that particular rune that you've seen, typical Celtic stuff, but I forgot exactly what it means. If you played the more recent God of War game, you may recognize it as one of the symbols of the other pantheons. And there you go. Pan is the one that, that was the horse, so he's voiced by the same voice actor, Alexander Mikic.
Are you aware of what is happening in the world?
Gabriel, turn. Talk to him, face to face.
Creatures from the void come to claim the souls of men, to wipe mankind from the face of the earth.
And what of the elders of your order? What do they think?
They don't
God
give a
has not
shit.
abandoned us. They believe that a powerful spell has been unleashed by someone or
Yeah,
something,
something might have cut off the ties between humanity and God, somehow.
cutting us off from God.
And this, and apparently this god is not all powerful because apparently he came to jack shit about it.
Or he's a dick, like the
Or
Demure.
that. Or
They
that.
have dreamt
That,
the message
or
waits for
he may be occupied with something
no,
else.
Jova, that's the convenient excuse. It's all a test of
I
character.
was instructed to seek you out, in the hope that you may show me
So,
the path.
hopefully
The
Pan
elders
is something
believe
to
that
actually
these dreams are the
offer
last
you out.
message from the heavens, and that you should know something that we are unaware of. Is that it?
Yes. My wife, Marie, was murdered not 2 days ago by the evil that roams these lands. Her soul and those of the recently departed are trapped here.
Yeah, that's actually one particular thing. The souls of the dead cannot
That
actually
is why
reach
they sent
heaven
you
somehow because
to
of his
go
spell.
Oblivion,
Which
because
suggests
they
that there's
believe
something
she
else
is
foul
waiting
at
for you
play.
here
Mm-hmm.
to deliver a message to you.
Yes.
Like, let's think about it.
But here's the thing. Pan is a benevolent deity, but nonetheless wants to test Gabriel. Not necessarily just, with him fighting a monster, but more with the proof of wits.
If you want it, solve my puzzle.
You're not far off, Pedro. If anything, what you're about to
I
see, it's straight up also from a classic Layton or game.
Okay, so you have 10 ways, and you need to find out which one is the lightest.
Close. 3 rings, move clockwise or anti-clockwise. 1 ring moves also another. Resolve it in the least amount of combinations, or an axe will fall on top of the
Oh my
ring.
god, we in Sleeping Beauty?
Oh boy. So how many pick rats do we get for this?
You do get actually experience points for this, so it's an equivalent to Picarats too.
Oh, there you go then.
You can potentially unlock the solution entirely, but you will lose the prize. I find that a bit of an extreme kind of solution, especially because these puzzles are not hard. So putting a skip puzzle because I'm too bored kind of thing feels, an extreme.
I don't know. I get. Well, okay.
It's like if imagine if Silent Hill did that. That's insane.
guessing-
Time for this?
Well,
Or-
okay.
No,
okay.
hold on, I can explain to Deji. It's only tied to when you actually move. 1 move corresponds to the axe falling down a bit more.
Okay, this is probably not the reason they put in a skip puzzle option,
There we go.
but no, there you go. This is probably not what the intention, but you can argue it kind of works as an accessibility setting, since not everybody is capable of solving these.
Honestly, I think a better solution would be like an option of these will appear if someone fails too many times the puzzle. At the very least, to make them try. Like,
Man, hilarious shit if it just drops right there.
Hey, Marie.
You fine?
Well, as fine as a woman who's dead can be.
And then
Believe it or not, Dwibs,
and then it's just like in Gears of War 2, where it turns out she's already a complete.
Again, this is more of a vision that Gabriel is receiving, but what the hell does this mean? Well, okay, again, you might be confused or thinking something else, but no, it's nowhere what you think. All will be revealed to the end of what this exactly means.
Believe it or not, Dwibs, the saying "I've had worse" is actually a very apt thing to say to anything Castlevania related. Because if there's one rule of Castlevania, it's that people just do not learn when to properly die and shove off the mortal coil.
Pretty much. Also, apparently, all you need to do to convince Pan to do is to solve a rather easy puzzle from one of Akira Tago's magazines. Cool.
Never knows when need may arise.
Well, to be fair, Teo, this is the first puzzle of the game, so obviously it's going to be easy to.
We will get, to be fair, true. We will get also a couple of more difficult ones along the road.
Oh yeah, because usually,
What's the Goat Wizard supposed to be based off of?
He's
Pan,
literally
a
Pan.
pagan deity of Celtic folklore.
Yeah, because even in games that focus on puzzles like Layton and Catherine, the first puzzle is always pretty easy, specifically so that the player can get a basic sense of the game and what to expect, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Even in puzzle games where the puzzles are the focus, they still do that because difficulty curve is a thing. So
Let's get the diving kick and move on.
Wait, is this a game where you can transform into animals?
No. I forgot which specific one you could do that. No, well, okay, Symphony of the Night technically, because Alucard can transform into a bat.
Like you have to play as a rat, or I just figure,
oh, that's kind of thing that happens in the sequel. More than another time.
In this place where the dead
Now we need to reach the place to communicate, supposedly, with Marie's soul. But let's just say that Pan hasn't stopped testing us.
He will need help if he is to succeed.
And it seems our narrator is about to actually meet Gabriel.
He will not fail. Not now.
See, this is the part
Not
where I
yet.
enter the story.
Not if I have anything.
Seriously, self-insert the fucking OC.
Considering who Patrick Stewart is, it's kind
There
of
we go.
funny when you
Classic
think about
folklore tells of a mystical spirit that inhabits untamed woodlands, protecting men from harm. Legends tell of different forms of the spirit, often an eagle, a deer, a boar, or even a horse, as well as many others. Some portray Pan as an evil satyr,
Satyr.
while others tell a story of a benevolent and powerful demigod, servant of Mother Nature herself. But mankind in its arrogance pollutes and destroys the world, and the old spirits depart, and soon Pan must choose his own fate.
It's actually pronounced Satyr.
Okay. Moving on.
You go from crisp summer grounds to cold, blistering winter.
I've seen plenty of these.
Alright, next scroll.
What do we do?
Jova. Why not? Actually, no, it's just a gem. My bad. There are no more scrolls from this part.
isn't there a way to distinguish when you're picking up a scroll?
I forgot. It's been a while since I actually recorded this. I can tell you this, every time after you collect something, the corpse doesn't blink anymore, so you know which one you already took.
Okay.
That
almost...
Hey,
Deji, this is time for the development report. This almost never happens.
Yeah.
Well,
Jammers!
I guess we're not going
why
back
does it
that
look like
way.
this? Why does it look like the ice is sticking up its two fingers at me?
Well, what don't you
No,
see?
the other way around. What makes it like saying up yours?
But don't you see? Superman's Fortress of Solitude happens to be here.
That's because now it's time to...
The Colossus!
Yes,
Yeah, Joe, but
one very infamous thing about this game, hold on, is that it actually does have a couple of boss fights that are blatantly taken from Shadow of the Colossus. I did mention also this a bit in the past. However,
No?
they sadly do not offer the same freedom of movement there in a much more scripted way, but I do still appreciate the intent nonetheless. So again, if you want to rip something, rip off something good.
Well, yeah, this is a God of War not also the boss, but I'm assuming this must be much more like a God of War big boss, right?
Although kind of do the Sonic Heroes thing with the Metal Sonic transformation, where it takes a bit to have the intro cutscene.
Any comparison to Heroes is not a good thing.
There we go.
It was shorter than Heroes, definitely.
No, it is. It's just that it takes a bit to do it. Anyway, the Ice Titan. Buried deep below the surface of an ancient lake, waiting to be found are the remnants of a once great European civilization, among them a Titan of war. Before Rome, before ancient Greece, this great empire possessed technology that surpassed all others, and this Titan marks the pinnacle of their achievements. A great conflict known as the Necromantic Wars obliterated this once thriving civilization, and this great feat of engineering was lost. When the dark spell that isolated the heavens from earthly plane was cast, the souls of the dead were drawn to this place, and somehow gave new energy to the magic runes, reanimated the Titan one final time. So yeah, your daggers are completely useless against this thing. You will need to climb towards its weak spot and try to mash it directly. Ouch. And this also provides one of the better pieces of music in the entire game, as one can imagine for an encounter like this. What you need to do for the time being is to bait the Titan to do a ground pound, and then there you go, grab onto. There we go, grab onto the weak point and start moving onward.
Wow, it's just like Breath of the Wild.
Wow, it even has a grip button and everything.
Although
Hey, look,
I have to
just
say,
like with Gaius, you
Pedro.
also have to go up his broken wrist as well.
Hey, for a moment, I thought you were trying to.
Yes.
For a moment, I thought you were trying to hum the some theme song. I'm like, what,
Well,
what kind of rendition is that?
No, I'm humming the Shadow of the Colossus climbing theme.
yeah, one of the bouncers.
You were saying, Pedro,
This is straight up Shadow of the Colossus right now.
Pretty much. Like I said, the weak points being located in specific spots are there, but again, you're moving in a more scripted way rather than, climbing a piece of fur.
Like Theo said, I guess imitation is the most sincere form of flattery.
And again, not a lot of games actually ripped off Shadow of the Colossus. It's kind of a waste, to be honest. There is potential to be made. There's a great indie game called Pray for the Gods that actually does that. But every time you, similar to Manus, every time you beat a weak point, the Colossus will do something and you will have to move towards the next position as a result. Nothing to see here.
It's a good thing you don't have a grip meter.
No, although for some reason the R2 button doesn't get registered all the time. It's a bit weird. Shit. Yeah, there's also the thing, despite the fixed camera, one thing that you notice is that the camera is completely fixed in this game. Every time there's something important happening, the camera never, takes too much in showcasing potential danger, so the game actively tries to warn you without having to tell you directly all the time. Alright, let's move from the chin to the back. And of course, much like in Shadow of the Colossus, being this towards also one of the final phases, this is also where the Colossus starts shaking much more. Again, like Pedro said, it's a good thing because this doesn't have a stamina meter.
Quick, find the part with the flesh and the fur to where you can hit it in the.
In this case, where the weak points are represented by these stained glass mini windows, so it makes them a bit more noticeable. And Gabriel does not have a magical equipment that shows them like the protagonist of Magical Sword, the gun.
So it's literally hit here, you dump fuck.
Pretty much, and unlike when there you go, the L bar tells you, how much you're doing complexly. It's not as easy and in that kind of sense of Shadow Colossus, where potentially you will have like a Colossus that takes only a couple of hits in the same spot and you're very good to go. In here, you have to work your way towards each weak point.
Well, it depends on which Colossus you find.
No, it also depends on the difficulty.
On hard
yeah.
Because on hard mode, there's at the very least always two spots.
And the last one is located on the temple. Okay.
Well, that's, I mean, yeah, obviously, most of the Colossi always have at least one in their heads.
Yeah, I jump cut because if you actually fall down, you have to climb back all over again, so might as well.
Yeah, there's a good job that you have to hit on the lower part of it as well.
Yeah.
There we go.
Breeze going in there.
Shit!
Oh, snap!
Also, slight pause to load the cutscene there.
Yeah, it happens a lot during this game.
It's,
if you were playing
not
this on the
to-
PS5, this
So
would
all
happen.
seemed lost, but not to worry, Patrick Stewart character to the rescue!
Yeah!
That's the
What?
thing. That's the thing, that like usually games in this generation of consoles usually did this thing where they had pre-rendered cutscenes specifically to avoid this. So like
God, he looks like Count Dooku.
like for example, MK8 and MK9 had pre-rendered cutscenes specifically so that they can avoid those slight pauses and stuff.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And again, a lot. Some games still were making the transition with that.
Also superior landing.
MK11 still uses pre-rendered cutscenes, and I don't know. Oh, hold on.
Yeah, also, just to passing note here, with this, snowstorm going on, can you see anything?
Not really. I've seen worse though. But
Okay.
But I wanted to tell you, an asteroid.
Thankfully, now it's time for Gabriel to communicate with Marie. We'll have more time to talk with Patrick Stewart character later.
Okay.
Who just comes out of nowhere.
Don't
There's a
worry.
reason for that.
That's kind of his character. He's more of a traveling figure that helps the people in need. Marie is voiced by. There she is.
So let me get this straight. Throughout the game, she occasionally shows up to say, "By the way, I'm still dead."
A bit, but she gives you a bit of, encouraging words. I will mention her voice actress later.
Face again.
And I use. My love, the elders of the Order hope that you can help us to understand what is happening. The world has been isolated from the heavens. Some believe that God has abandoned us. Can it be true?
I feel that the spirits are trying to talk to me.
Okay, that doesn't really answer my question though.
One thing at a time.
Understand them all. It is so dark. So many people crying. I cannot find them in the blackness.
Those are the Konami fans after Kojima's departure.
Yes.
No, here's
Just Konami, the remaining people that want.
True, with the working conditions.
Who are they?
But this sets you up to the quest. You need to find the titular Lords of Shadow.
Prophecy.
Mhm.
I don't understand.
The Lords of Shadow are an interesting bunch, let's just say.
Well, they are responsible for most of the creatures of darkness, but Patrick Stewart character is about also to fill in the gaps.
But honey, you didn't answer my question about gods. Okay.
It's all in due time, and she's
Crawling game, I crawl.
Wake me up, and I can't wake up. Wake me up.
All right.
all you need to know, Pedro, is that Marie herself is trying to figure things out a bit. It's complicated.
Just on her own side.
On the afterlife?
There you go. This
Yes.
character is called Zobek. It's from a different branch of the Brotherhood.
Basically, Pedro, here's
It
the
looks
thing.
like it looks like Ramirez.
Ramirez, a bit actually.
Yeah, like he has the same hairstyle, the same basic face and facial hair. Like seriously, even he dresses similarly. He's literally Ramirez.
Basically, Pedro, when it comes to Castlevania, death is more often than not only a fraction of the story.
I know that.
Okay, is it me or do the ellipses? You know how ellipses indicate pauses? When they happen, Robert Carlyle doesn't say it when the subtitles say it.
What do you mean?
The subtitles are out of sync.
No, it's not that,
no,
but hold
Glitch
on.
is referring to the fact that he doesn't pause when the subtitles suggest he should be pausing. The syntax of a sentence.
So, there is supposed to be a prophecy that the Brotherhood Light tends to keep it secret for most of its members.
But yeah, I know that, Joe. It's just that I never actually played these, so I don't know how similar and how different they are.
Prophecy.
Here we go.
That a pure-hearted warrior will claim the power of the Lords of Shadow as his own, and use it in order to overcome all evil.
A champion of God himself.
After he's turned evil himself for a bit, of course.
No,
This is happening with all prophecies like
ideally,
that.
absorbing those powers would make said warriors a champion of God.
Thanks to your
Again, they read the fine print of these prophecies, idiots.
To be fair, it's not even a case of here of an ancient evil has awakened, you know, go to the really deep shit.
and unite the heavens with this world.
Again, though,
once
let's
more.
consider this,
And
though. Let's assume that God is not abandoning folks and is not being lazy. That means it would have to be a pretty powerful force to be able to contend with God.
Let me guess, is the plot twist Satan?
Oh, I got it. It's the Vile God. The Vile God is...
Vile God.
You folks will see in due time what's going on. Let's keep the suspense also for Dibs and Shiroi.
Again, it's very complicated, is all I'll say.
So yeah, for the time being,
It's why do I have to go to
What-
the vampires?
for the time being, Gabriel and Zobek will split up. Zobek will just prepare the terrain. He will not confront the Lord of the Vampires just yet. While Gabriel, in the meantime, will scout the land and try to defeat the Lord of the Lycans on his
will
own.
help cure your wounds.
Don't you think, old man, don't you think you need this more, considering, you know, you're old?
That's okay, he's
He
more
can
experienced.
manage. Again, traveling water and everything, he's very experienced.
This can't be
I
good.
live,
I can't believe it. I
unlike
can't
you,
believe it. This is the start of a great friendship.
I live long and prosper. Ew.
More traveling by map, because why not?
And epic music.
Yeah, for the record, I don't even know in what part of Europe this is supposed to be taking place because the geography is all over the place.
Somewhere...
It takes place in what people who aren't familiar with Europe think Europe
this-
is.
Yeah, Europlan.
But Dad, this was made by Spanish people.
Wait. Sure.
Yeah, that's true.
Sure. Are you-
Shiroi, I don't
so-
know if you've... I don't know if you've seen this before, but this just reminds you a little bit of Raven.
So what you're saying, Shiroi, is that essentially we're in the failed Euro Disneyland.
Okay, so wait, Theo, I can answer that. Let me speak as an American. Most Americans don't even know their American geography.
Oh no, but that's the thing, Dad. This game was mostly made by Spanish people. Sure, the writer...
Look, sometimes some people just don't know.
Or sometimes they just prefer to do a more of an abstract thing, which is probably what we did. See you for part 3.
Look,
Yeah.
Yeah.